In this video, I'm going to show you how to contact 10,000 leads a month using cold email to be able to generate meetings. So from setting up the right infrastructure to sourcing, enriching, and verifying leads, and of course, launching the campaign, we'll cover everything. If you don't know who I am, I'm Romain Osman. I co-founded 5Element, and over the past years, we've generated over 1,000 sales appointments for B2B companies using cold email and LinkedIn outreach. One of our clients closed over $3 million in new revenue in a year from the meetings we booked for them. So let's get started. First, you need inboxes to send emails, and you don't want to use your main inbox and your main domain because you don't want to harm your reputation, because then you might end up in spam when you send emails to your clients. Also, if you just use one domain, you will be limited. You won't be able to send a high volume of email. So the first step is to create inboxes. So I'm going to show you 3 ways to set up inboxes. First, you have the Google resellers. So you have a lot online, but premium inboxes is pretty good because they have a platform where you can order your inboxes and follow the whole setup process. It's not the case for all of them, so they're pretty good and they have reasonable prices. The second one is Lunatro. So on Lunatro, you set up Microsoft mailboxes, and it's Microsoft Azure inboxes. So it's a bit different because as you can see here, you're going to buy 4 domains, and per domain, you're going to have 100 inboxes. For Google, you're going to buy a domain and have 2 to 3 inboxes. So it's very different process. And here you're going only to send 4 cold outreach emails per inbox. So it's very different than using Google, but I've tested them and you have very good deliverability when you use a system like that. You also have Hypertide and Scaled Mail that have the same kind of process. You can try them, but Lunatro is pretty good. And on Lunatro, the domains are part of the subscription. So here you pay $200 a month, but you don't need to pay for the domains. And the third way to buy inboxes is to buy them directly in Smartlead. So they have a marketplace here. I clicked on purchase mailboxes, and you can choose the resellers. Here you have Google resellers, Outlook resellers, and here you have an SMTP provider. Now let's talk about the volume of inboxes you need to be able to contact a certain amount of lead. So here I have a little calculator that I will put in the description. Here you put the number of leads you want to contact a day. So 250 means that you will contact 5,000 leads a month approximately. Let's say we want to contact 500 leads per day, and we want to send, let's say, 1 main email and 2 follow-ups. So in total, it will be 3 emails. That's what we recommend in general, from 2 emails to 3 emails, nothing more than that. We want to send 20 days in a month or 22 days because we want to exclude the weekends. For the Google inboxes, we want to limit ourselves at 25 to 30 emails a day per inbox. For Microsoft inboxes, since we're going to use the Microsoft Azure infrastructure, we don't want to send more than 4 emails per day per inbox because we're going to have 100 inboxes per domain. So we don't want to send more than 400 cold outreach per day because we're going to have on top of that the warm-up. So 4 is the maximum. Then we have backup inboxes. So we recommend always having half of your inboxes in warm-up. So in case your deliverability goes down, then you can directly switch to your inboxes that are in warm-up. And this way you don't have to wait to buy new domains and wait 2 weeks for the warm-up. So here, if you put 100%, it means that half of your inboxes will be in backup. If you don't want backup inboxes, you just need to put 0. But let's leave it at 100. And here you can choose the Google inbox share. So if you put 100%, it means that all of your inboxes in your infrastructure will be from Google. If you put 0%, it means that all of them will be for Microsoft. So let's start with 100. So if you want to contact 500 leads a day, you will need 120 inboxes. That's with the backup. If here I put 0 in backup, you need 16 boxes. If now you want still the backup and you want half Google inboxes and Microsoft inboxes, you will need 60 Google inboxes and 375 Microsoft inboxes. So that will allow you to send in total 1,500 emails a day. So that's 500 times the 3 emails that you're going to send with the follow-ups. And so in a month, it's going to be 33,000 emails. So create a copy of this calculator if you want to know how many inboxes you need for your specific case, like depending on the number of leads you want to contact per month or per day. By the way, if you'd rather have my team build and run the entire system for you, just hit the first link in the description to book a call with me. I'll walk you through what it will look like if we took care of everything for you. All right, back to the video. So now that we have our inboxes, we need to source leads, and the best way to do it is to source them directly on Apollo. So I have a whole video on my YouTube channel talking about the filters on Apollo and how to source leads, but I'm going to show you quickly how to do it here. So let's create together a simple search on Apollo. So let's say you want to contact the founders in the USA with companies between, let's say, 10 to 100 employees, and you want the founders in the tech industry. So most of the times they're in information, technology, and services on Apollo. So here we have our search. We have 26,000 prospects. So of course, it's not the most optimal list. We will need to probably add more industries or exclude some keywords, but just for the example, we're going to use that. So from there, we want to take the URL and paste it in an Apollo scraper. So I'm using this scraper on Apify. It's one of the best, and for $1.20, you can export 1,000 leads. So if you want to export 10,000 leads, you need to pay only $12. So it's a lot cheaper than exporting directly from Apollo. So if you want to export 10,000 leads from your search, you put it here. Here you just need to select get work email. You don't need the personal email. In run options, you can leave it like it is. For timeout, I recommend to select no timeout. Memory, you keep it like it is. And maximum charge results, I recommend to put no maximum limit since you already put below that you want to export 10,000 leads. And then you just run it. Then you will need to wait approximately 20 to 30 minutes for 10,000 leads. In general, that's approximately what you need. Once it's done, you can export it in a CSV and import it in GPT using this prompt. So here you want to keep only these columns, because when you will export from Apify, you will see you will have 100 plus columns and you can't do it manually. So just import it here. It's going to clean it for you. Now we need to do the enrichment, the verification of the email addresses. We need to clean the company name and other stuff. So the best way to do it is to use Clay. If you're not using Clay, you will need to do all of that manually. So I'm going to show you how I do it in Clay, and it's a basic workflow that I'm going to show you here. So the first step that I have here is a lookup. So it's going to check if the domain is on another Clay table where I have all of the clients and all of the people that I don't want to contact. If it didn't find a record, it's going to go to the next step. The next step that we have is to check the MX provider, because sometimes we don't want to contact certain provider. For example, nowadays we avoid Microsoft inboxes because it's very hard to land in the inbox. Then we validate the email address using debounce. If there is no email address, because sometimes Apollo is not giving you the email address, we run a waterfall enrichment. So in this example, we just do it with Kit and ICPs. So here we're using the first name and last name and website. And using that, Kit is able to find an email address that then we validate again with debounce. If Kit doesn't find the email address, then we're using ICPs to find the email address. And same, we validate the email address to be sure it's valid. Then we have ready to send. So ready to send is going to verify the catch-alls. For example, here, the email is neither valid nor invalid. So in that case, it's a catch-all email. And so here we're going to validate it. Then we have what we call the master email. So that's the column we're going to import in our email sending platform. So here it's gathering all of the valid emails from the previous steps. So as you can see here, it's importing from the first step when the email was safe to send. Here, same safe to send, safe to send. And here it's from the catch-alls when the catch-all is a valid catch-all. And the last step that we have is to clean the company name because we want to use it in our copy. Sometimes we clean also the job title because sometimes we want to include it in the copy. But here it's going to remove the LLC, ink. Sometimes there is more explanation about the company, and we don't want to include that in the copy. So if you don't want to use Clay, you can still do all of that outside of the platform, but it's going to take a lot of time. That's why in that case, I don't recommend the waterfall enrichment. You can just validate the email address and clean the company name and then import it in your sending platform. So now that we have our inboxes, that we sourced the leads, we've done the enrichment, the verification, we cleaned the whole document, we need to create the campaign to be able to send the emails. So here we're on Smartlead. We're going to click on Create Campaign. Here we're going to import our CSV and map the columns. So we want to map them like that, first name with first name, last name, website, the LinkedIn profile. And here we have master email with email and master company name with company name. Then we can click on next. So now that we've imported our leads, we need here to import our copy. And here we can add some follow-ups. Now we're at the third step. We're at the setup. So here we want to connect the sender account. So you click here and you connect your inboxes. Here we're going to choose the time zone, the days when we want to send, and the max number of new leads we want to reach out to on this campaign. Then we have the campaign settings. So here we want to check this box to not use any HTML. I also recommend to click on force plain text as content type. We don't want to track the opens and the clicks because it's going to harm our deliverability. And then you can take a look. There are other parameters, but I talked about the main ones here. So then you can save the general settings. So now we're at the final step. Here you just need to verify if your variables are properly set up. So for the first name, company name, if you have an AI line, you can verify a few of them and make sure everything is properly set up. And then you can click on Start the campaign and it will be launched. So with this exact system that I showed you in this video, you can contact 10,000 plus prospects a month without hurting your deliverability. Now, if you want us to help you build and run the entire outbound system for you, so you can just focus on closing deals, you can just hit the first link in the description and book a call with me. And if you found this helpful, make sure to subscribe. I will be posting more tutorials and strategies to help you scale outbound. Thank you for watching.